Library Design to order on Tuesday, January 25th at 4:30 p.m. Thank you all for coming out to be updated and informed about our library design. At this time, we're going to turn it over to City Manager Gaynor.
Thank you. This is some of the continuous workshops that we've had in the past about the updates on much of the rebuild of the city. We've been working with, and Ben has been working with as well, Mott McDonald, as you remember. We had 3 architects that took several pieces of the city, designed them, and then now they come back before the commission to see if we're on the right track, and then we'll go on to 100% and at some point bid this out. So we've asked today Ben Coke and of course one of our city engineers, Billy Perry, to come up and give a presentation of where we are with the library. We know that's very important to us, and we told you at the beginning of the year we would do that, and we are at that point right now. If Ben has any more comments, he can do those, and then we'll turn it over to Mott McDonald to give you an update. No? Okay.
Hi, how are you doing? Is this on? Oh, okay. Oh, there it is. It is on. Can you hear me? I can go without a mask. Is that okay? Okay. Hey, I'm Ben Coate with Mott McDonald, and Billy Perry with Mott McDonald's here with me. I know the library project is another important piece to rebuilding your city. It's exciting to see the work you've got going on outside the City Hall and all the different various pieces that need to be put in place for a community to work. A library is definitely important. We started this a little bit last year and started looking at the different sizes. One thing, looking at the site plan, I know this is probably not good, but that is your previous library on the corner there, which is now not here. But, I guess I want you to make sure you look at that. The footprint there was probably about 8,200 square feet. We're now looking at the library in this location next to this building. So there could be some connection, and they could also probably utilize some of the larger spaces in this building because with the budget, I think, that we've been told before in the past, we're probably going to have to build this building. We were trying to stay under 4,000 square feet. We've gotten a little over that. It's, to try to make it a really nice space for you guys and give you all the program spaces. We've landed on this size space. Looking at the floor plan at a closer level, we have an entry with kind of a nice portal here. You come in, there's going to be kind of an open, interactive space. I think they had the desire to have a cafe, kind of coffee area integrated into the space. This space being the kind of the more the adult section, a lot of varying flexibility with seating. We've got a seating arrangement here, and then as you move back over here, we worked with Ben, and he talked about having a reading podium for readings, and it's got kind of we can work with the furniture. We've kind of gone with this circular theme with some of the elements, starting with the cafe, and you'll see it when we get to the 3D images. But when you first come up, you have a circulation desk that's on axis with the entrance. It's a small, intimate library, and in talking with the librarian staff, I mean, the main librarian's office is going to have strategic windows. So, so that in the if they're low on, if there's not as much staff, that she has a really good view of the whole library from her office. We've worked, if you look at the program spaces, well, there's also a children's area that's enclosed for noise and acoustics. And in that space, we've got, of course, the book stacks, a work table. We talked about a screen here, a monitor for them to, show videos, a storage area. It's got its own kind of little pantry that can give direct access just to this space. As far as the staff's areas, we have a workspace with 2 workstations, a little small storage, and then they have a break room. We're trying to maximize, with the smaller footprint, we're trying to maximize these staff spaces as best as possible by kind of making them interconnected, but giving them all the functions as best we had, to the library before. There's a small computer lab that's enclosed as well. Again, it's got a little bit of a glass side light so you can see it as well. Of course, then you come over to the right and we have 2 restrooms, multi-stall restrooms, and then we have a mechanical electrical room. It's a pretty small little intimate library, community library. The exterior, we're looking at the same architecture aesthetic as what you guys are doing with the City Hall, the stucco, and we're using the ICF type block, and but just keeping it really simple and clean, but also thinking about matching the roof to the senior center, so there's a little bit of contextual. You can see the senior center here, so we have a little match in that direction too. You can see that we have just outside the door, there's a book drop in a covered area here. This door is actually for, if you go back to the plan, they asked that we put a door here in case you wanted to lock that down after hours, and this would be a separate entrance after hours in case you want to use that space. Yeah. This is a kind of an axial view that kind of shows you the same. It's kind of interesting way to show the plan with 3-dimensional elements of the furniture. We've looked at a couple different ways you could lay out the furniture. I mean, we've looked at it going this direction and then that direction, and we could still meet with the furniture vendor and kind of tweak that even further. But I think we feel pretty good about this layout thus far. Even we had bookshelves here. We took it out just to see what it felt like, how open it would feel. It's got kind of its different zones. This is kind of the cafe zone, and I think what we'll do is in the flooring as well, we'll have a different change of flooring color in that radius, and as well as at the circulation desk, we'll have a different change in flooring there as well. And really, we can find the furniture that has these same kind of nice radial features that kind of works with the whole space. And when you see the 3Ds, we actually have soffits that make that same architecture and forms. So when you first come in this top rendering here is when you come in the front door, and you can see the cafe to the right, and there's that ceiling form I was talking about. Same kind of, nice gentle curve at the circulation desk. Kind of draws you back into the space. If you see those lines, it's kind of neat the way we have these 3 windows as a nice identifying, and then the same circular form for the reading podium. If you go to the circulation desk and look back the other way, you have those same nice 3 windows as those that kind of feature the cafe area as well. When you go to this is looking from the other corner of the library in that direction where you can see the reading podium, this kind of computer area. This is from the reading podium back out. You see the nice 3 windows and the circular form. I like the way you have that on both walls. It's kind of a nice little bounce in the room. The children's library has the same 3 windows with that kind of elegant form, long windows. That's a little screen for videos. I don't show that, you can't see the table, but it's laid out as well. And we can kind of adjust furniture, play around with it. The last image is that small little work area, just kind of showing you how we're trying to be extremely efficient by work area, break area, bathroom, all kind of working really kind of tight back there, but to try to get as much space as we can out in the library stacks area. As far as the images, I mean, that's pretty much the layout and the design of the library itself. I'm not sure what you guys, where you want to go next with the conversation.
We just really wanted
Questions?
to let the commission see we're at 60% plans. Really need your feedback. If it's something we're going in the right direction, you like where we're going, or we need to add some more space or add something different, well, this is a great time for the commission to kind of tell us where we need to go.
One question I do have is in regards to the windows, is there any type of protection for hurricanes or anything?
Oh yeah, there have to be impact rated.
Well, I mean, beyond the impact rate, is there something that we could cover the windows with?
You could, I mean, it's gonna be designed per the Florida Building Code and the impact rating. At this point, you don't have to actually do a supplemental shutter, but you could if you wanted to.
Okay.
It's just cost. If you want to go that extra mile and pay an extra cost for a hurricane shutter, you could do that for sure.
So what is the impact rating?
Excuse me?
So what is the impact rating?
It's
No, I'm asking what is the number for the impact rating?
the number. I mean, it has to meet the wind code.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I just want to say I love it. It's simple, to the point. Yep, I love it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Are you guys keeping in mind, and I'm sure you probably are, I mean, I'm thinking about the future, let's say 50 years from now. We see how digital we are now, right?
Yeah.
So 50 years from now, it's going to be a lot more than it is now. Who knows if we'll even have paperback books at that point. So I guess my question is, do we make sure that we, excuse me, have enough outlets and ports and all these things throughout the entire building for future when we have...
Yeah, we had talked about that with Ben.
We did, and if Ben want to come up, and because we thought very much about the future of this media center, how it will be utilized for our schools and our adults, and we envision, readings coming in, having some, computer classes, partnering with Northwest Florida Regional Library, them probably having a lot more of the tangible books, us having a lot more of the technology. We talked about that when we met with them, so yes, and Ben, you can talk a little bit more about it.
Sure. We're actually facing quite a big challenge here with this new design. We're essentially building a new library that's just half the size of the original one. Right. So the big question for us was really, how can we continue to maintain a certain level of service, or even a better level of service, library service to our residents here in Lynn Haven, while we're reducing the size of the building. And the answer to that, or our response to that, was really twofold. Number one, to really engage into the digital media component. So when you look at the design here, or at the circulation desk, that's going to be an area where you can get a tablet from the librarian to get access to a whole list of electronic books. We are going to be connecting to the Bay County library system in the next couple of months, and that will give us access to a whole list of digital books that are already available. The second approach, or the second answer to that size challenge, was really to develop a workspace, a library space that is really flexible. Yeah. So for example, wrong button.
Put that axe on it, maybe it's easier for you to explain.
So when you look at these bookshelves, you can't really see it on these images, but all of these bookshelves, they are all on rollers. So in other words, if you...
That one, that's the one.
That's probably the best one. So let's say if you have a book presentation or a reading, all of these books here, bookshelves, can be moved to the side, and this really opens up the entire space. We can bring in some chairs, so we can really use the same space for two different purposes. Same thing with the children's area. All of this is flexible here, and this can be moved to the side or out of this room, and it can be, so this room can be used also as a community room after hours, where we can get access from the side only to this room, where, let's say, a non-for-profit organization wants to meet in the evening and do a presentation. They can use the screen here to show their presentation to their friends and members.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons we had the access point on the side, so that they wouldn't be able to actually get into the library when it was closed, but they actually could use the community room as any group could use it. It could be the Heritage Club that wanted to have a meeting there. It could be any civic organization that wanted to meet there.
Another thing that was done also was the library itself is strategically the larger space. I put larger windows on this side of the building because if you ever had additional monies and you wanted to expand the library, this would be the direction you want to go. So if you look at the actual site plan, having the large windows on this side and then the larger space, you could easily add another portion of the library there. And really those could just be nice big openings to another section of the library. So I think it made sense to try to put that larger portion of the library to that side, the south side of the library as well.
Answers Commissioner Aldridge's question about growth.
Yeah, we were thinking about the ability to grow because you are getting a library that's half the size of what you had. So.
And I think Ben brought up a good point, because I'll be honest with you, I saw the lab room at first, I was like, is that going to be big enough with computers and that? But with the way technology is going, a tablet's probably going to be more than enough. So that's actually a really good idea. The cafe, they're actually going to sell drinks and stuff in there, or how is that going to work? Or do we not know yet?
Our goal was to just have coffee set up. People come in, they like to read the books that are there, maybe read the newspaper. We have the newspaper will be there, some of the magazines. So it's really going to be more of a kind of a coffee shop feel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But there's tables there too where you can get a book and, sit there as well. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh, that's okay. I just wanted to ask, are we going to have that arrangement with the county library where folks can call that library, order a book, and they bring it here so that they have the option they have? That's good. That's the main thing I've heard from seniors. They want to be able to hold the book in their hand. So as long as they've got that option, that's great.
And actually, it's a win-win, because while they will have more tangible books, we may have more tablets with a lot more reading on them. So I think they'll be able to borrow from us as well as we borrow from them.
I know there's a lot of versatility that's been explained, but if you had say a big art show or something and you had to use part of the senior center, would it make sense to have a covered walkway between the two places?
We actually talked about that.
Yeah.
Probably try to put it as put a covered, probably extend that sidewalk there and just do a covered connection. I'm not showing it, but I think we need to consider that for sure. Right there, and just connect to that door, the doors over here for sure.
All right. Any additional questions?
The other room over there, or as a connection, or even walk through the whole place, depending on stuff that we've seen in the past, So it would help if we had a weather connection,
For sure.
All right. Any questions from the public? Mr. Walker?
That's all right.
I'll get that out of your way.
I won't scratch it.
Oh, I just want to get out of your way so you have room.
Looking at the footprint, it's about the size of what we had, okay? Keep in mind that in 1970, when we acquired that area, well, if you back up, you acquired the whole thing free of charge. The old library had been in operation for 70 years and was given to you free. And you never paid anything for it. You never even helped it. So the ladies gave it to you, and immediately the new one was built. It's about the same size as that. 7 years later, it was destroyed. It was too small. So I enjoy the foresight of, in the future, additional potential there. I did not notice one thing. We did have a children's section, a young adult section, that had its own computers also. We had a computer section, which was for research. I think, we're thinking along those lines. It looks neat, clean, small. But we've been without it for almost 4 years now. We pay taxes to Bay County, and we have that library. So does Southport. And we charge people from Southport to belong to this. So, if you're going to do it, you better do exactly right, plan for the future, and not do what they did in 1970. Build it, and 7 years later have to destroy it because it was too small. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Can I add on to what Mr. Walker said? That's one of the things, too, that we have to have room to grow, and I think that you've accounted for that. We can connect to it, and if we want to build another building just the same darn size next to it, we could. I can't imagine. I'll be long gone before you ever do that, but I think I think it is a good plan for the future. And I love what you said, Commissioner Perno, about the fact that if we could walk between the buildings here, we could have a huge function and come from building to building. So I like that too. I love it just the way it is.
All right. Any other additional questions from the public?
Jody Moore on Amherst Street. Richard talked about the fee that was involved. Since we're now going to be part of the system, would there be a fee involved? And I am glad that we're going to have a library. I think that that's an important thing to have. We did also have a history room in the library, as you guys all know. Maybe that's not necessary at this point, since the old McMullen Library will be coming, well, maybe that'll fulfill that function. But I do think there should be something for children in the library, and I don't know if that's something to maybe design change or whatever. But I did wonder about the fee, since I live in the county and I had to pay $10, to come. Go ahead.
We do have some space for the children area. I think he talked about it a little bit before you came in. And then secondly, we are going to be working with the county on what it will cost us to collaborate with them. But still, one of the major issues we have to work out is having our staff be able to run and then be able to utilize a lot of their books. We don't know if that'll be a fee to you at all, if there even be a fee. That's what we're working toward.
Yes, sir.
I think the plans are good, but do we really need a coffee bar and a cafe area? If you look at the one main library downtown, they have a coffee area and it's rarely used. Florida State, their library, and the one at Gulf Coast, you can take coffee in, but they have no coffee bar. Some of the bigger universities do, but I'm just thinking that's going to be a waste of space. Then again, too, if you have a coffee bar, are you going to allow coffee to go in to the use by the computers and books? That's my question. I think that space could be used for something else, maybe.
I think that one of the things that we did when we did our workshops back in, I don't know, 2020, somewhere along there, we did follow some of the advice of our citizens of wanting something a little bit different, more of a media center, more open to the public, more engaging, be able to sit down and read a book or read the newspaper. That's just the future of libraries, really. And I think it's a great space for people to come in, sit. That space is also very versatile. If we had something really big, we could utilize that entire space for any type of reading, any type of, we had an author that would come. They used all of that space there. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be used very much a lot.
And the good news is, Bob, they were going to make it, Ben wanted to make it a hookah bar, but we walked him off that ledge.
Any,
That's no, just a little levity.
any additional questions from the public?
I will say, I'd like to thank Mott McDonald. We've gone through probably about 8, 9 versions, somewhere along in there. Because we definitely wanted to bring you something that you would be proud and it would last and be able to grow in the next couple of years. Many years.
Commissioner
I was
Sanders?
just going to say, too, I would think with what we just brought up about coffee and people being able to bring in beverages, that type of thing, the flooring is going to be the biggest issue in the place. How easy it is to keep clean and clean up messes.
Yeah, sure. We probably use a little LVT flooring would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's similar to this flooring here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else from the commission? All right. City manager, anything else? Well, thank you, city manager and staff, for bringing this presentation to us. Thank you for your hard work and your thoughtfulness. I think it's a great design and look forward to reading some books and drinking some hot chocolate there, even if I have to bring it myself. So, and thank you, Mott McDonald, for the hard work that you put in on this as well. We certainly appreciate it. And thank you, Lynn Haven, for your input today. This concludes our workshop. Meeting adjourned at 4:57.